What's up, guys? This is Nina Perez, and this is Straight Talk, no sugar added. I'm so glad you are here. As you know, we always talk about real life topics to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. Today, I found Samuel Wilson. So, he is a commercial syndicator, a podcast host of How to Scale Commercial Real Estate Podcast. So, I cannot wait to talk about that a little bit. I love podcasters because you guys, we're always dropping something out there for people to learn from. So he's an active investor in RV resorts, RV and boat storage, laundry facilities. He's has experience with multifamily, self-storage, parking, land, all that great stuff. So Sam, how are you? Welcome to Straight Talk.
Hey, Nina, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, I'm really glad you're here. I love talking and touching on different topics. And so I have an array of people that come on my show to talk about different business strategies, thought process, blah, blah, blah. So before we get into all that, I want to know who you are. So tell us a little bit about who Sam Wilson is. Little question.
Little question. Who is Sam Wilson? That's a profound question because I have no idea. I'm a guy that's trying to figure it out. It's like
Right.
I'm 40, and someday I want to be an adult and grow up. I think it's like one day I'll grow up. My wife and I joke about that commonly. Like, man, I want to know. I want to know what I'm doing with my
Grow
life.
up, why? I don't understand why you got to grow up. I don't get that.
I don't know. I grew up in the Midwest in a relatively poor family. No, we were pretty dirt poor. I won't kid you. But life was good. We didn't know how poor we were. I think there's one, I wouldn't change it for the world. I've got an amazing family. And I know a lot of wealthy people that can't say that. So it's no, I love my family to death. It's probably the strongest part of my life. But growing up poor, you don't grow up really with the examples of going out and growing businesses and thinking larger or knowing that you're capable of more. So that's been probably a mindset piece of work for me that I'm still working on now. There's still a poverty mindset that even at 40, it's like, oh yeah, we own tens of millions of dollars in real estate, and there's still that kind of just like, all right, so I'm still behaving like a poor person. I still think like them. And that's something I'm overcoming. But so that's it, man. I grew up in a hardworking family. We were a no handouts family. Mom and dad just were completely opposed to it, and we worked hard. And I think that's been kind of the bedrock of what I've done. And also in that, you learn to provide. You learn to take care of yourself. It's like, and that's probably where the poverty mentality comes in, because there's always that fear that we're going to be without. So it's like, oh no, got to keep protecting and building, and because if I don't, we're going to run out. Well, we're not. We're not. But yeah, so that's it. I've always worked for myself, and here we are, today, grinding it out. So can't
how did you always work for yourself though, right? Because I mean, I grew up in a impoverished mindset and circumstances as well. And so how did you work for yourself? Since your mom and dad were hard workers, were they also entrepreneurs? Like, did they work for themselves or?
Yeah. So dad was in the flooring business, and he was an installer in the flooring business. And so you're a contractor, basically.
Yeah.
You grew up in the trades. So that was it. When I was 16, well, I shouldn't say I always worked for myself. I worked for my brother, an older brother of mine, for several years. So, but in that, it was still very entrepreneurial. We're working side by side. So we grew up in the flooring trades. Ended up, my brother and I started a flooring company when I was 20. Well, he already had it going, but then I joined him at 21, and we really got that business. And I bought out part of it when I was 25. So yeah, very entrepreneurial, but also just scrappy. I mean, it's something, when I remember in elementary school, I was the finance guy. I always liked the numbers. My brother couldn't hold money. He always spent it too fast. And so I would fund, remember the oatmeal cream pie boxes?
Yeah.
I would buy the oatmeal cream pie boxes, and he was a grade older than me. He'd sell them to all his classmates, and we'd split the profits.
Smart.
Yeah, right. Until your third grade teacher says you can't do that anymore. But there's a great hustle while at work. But I think that's it. You just learn early on how to provide and how to make money. And you go, okay, I've got to figure this out, because what is it? Necessity is the mother of invention. So
yeah. And you know what's really cool though? That even though, mom and dad work hard, I mean, of course you're always trying to make sure your kids eat and all that great stuff, right? But I love that you said, we weren't like handed anything, they were against that. And that is what saved you, to be honest,
For sure.
because I think that a lot of, that mentality of somebody owing you something or constantly giving you something doesn't allow you to learn how to fish for yourself. Right. And so I'm really, really, I'm really proud of your parents because that's something that's super tough. And, there's a lot of stress that comes with that too. You're just trying to have your own business and trying to get the next gig. There's a lot of stress. Right.
It's a lot of stress. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. It goes, like you said, you'll never learn to fish for yourself. And I think that's kind of a problem we have. Obviously,
Hmm.
today's
Hmm.
society, people are being taught, hey, we owe you. Everybody else owes you something. Well,
Hmm.
no, the best thing we can do for you is to give you nothing, and
Right.
you'll figure it
Right.
out.
Right.
And it's it goes back to the national park signs that say, "Don't feed the animals." Well, why? You feed the animals, they forget how to go find their own food,
Right.
and then the animals
Right.
die. It's like, and that's a hard truth that people are, it's in the entitlement society we're in. What I just said is not popular, but
Right. Oh no, not popular at all, but it's facts, right? I mean, this is just facts by what you've seen throughout our lives, right? What actually we've seen works and doesn't work. And these are just facts, right? And facts don't care about your feelings, right? So that's just how that is.
right,
But I love that. I love that, that story because I think that it says a lot, especially to all of you who are listening and all of that, that yeah, you can come from an impoverished place. Yes, you can have struggle, but you can also have something more. You don't have to just stay in that mentality. You don't have to stay struggling all the time. And even like I love, Sam, that you are so transparent too, because a lot of people, once they've reached some certain sense of success, completely deny that they still have a poverty mindset. But that's BS. Lots of
right,
us do.
right,
Lots of us do, right? But that's real. That's real talk.
for
I
sure,
love that.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Yeah, and that was
That's
one of
what
my
I'm like.
major
Yeah.
mistakes. I sold the flooring company when I was 30, and I had that rare confluence of money and time in my life. I haven't yet achieved that same, the 2 things come together. It's like it's like the retiree's dream. They got money and they got time. Like,
Mhm.
I hit it at 30, not a huge amount, but enough to where I could have gone for a couple years and not really worried about money. But
Mhm.
instead of going, "Okay, let's be strategic. Let's think about our next steps. Let's carefully plan," I panicked. This was the poverty mindset of like, "Oh, crud. What am I gonna do to get
Right.
the next dollar coming in? What am I gonna do to provide for my family?" I'm 30 years old. I have no education beyond a high school education, and my high school degree was or grades were pitiful. And so, I'm completely unhireable, right? I'm a 30-year-old
Mhm,
male
mhm.
with no degrees and only work for himself. Yeah, no one wants me. That's for sure. Completely unhireable. But instead of just taking the time and thinking through it, that poverty mindset came in, and it was just like
That's real.
I panicked. I mean, absolutely, my wife will tell you it's the worst year of her life. Just panicked, doing all
Right.
sorts of dumb stuff, worried about how am I gonna make more money? It's like, dude, just chill.
Mhm,
You
mhm.
are
And well, that's what made you have all the mistakes, right? Because we get into that poverty mentality. I'm there too. I totally understand it. And then you start to like grasp at anything or straws, and you get desperate,
yep,
right?
absolutely.
And you're not thinking clearly. You're just not, you know.
Mm-mm.
But that's just real because I think that. I mean, and I'm sure you're seeing this too. Like on social media, all you see is all of this hyped up stuff, and that when they turn off the camera, that is not how they feel.
Right.
You because me and you go through that, right? Like we have good moments, but don't tell me we don't have no shit ass moments where we're turning off the camera, be like, oh, that's not how I feel today, right?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah. So tell
absolutely.
tell me how you got into like the RV stuff, like the RV. That's what you're doing currently, right? Investing in RVs and resorts and stuff like that.
We do 2 things, RV resorts and, laundry facilities. How did I get into that?
Smart.
That's
Hmm.
a circuitous journey, if you will. I sold the flooring company. I talked about that a few minutes ago. In that panic and making all those wrong decisions, back in this would have been 2012, 2013. It'd been 2013 mostly. But in that of just throwing money at this, throwing money at that, trying to find,
Mm-hmm.
get any traction. I say it's the good Lord having mercy on an idiot. I happened to see a foreclosure auction happening, that day, and I went and looked at the house. 2 hours later, I owned a house. My wife is a good wife, I'll tell you that. She's amazing. I don't know many husbands that can walk in the living room and say, "Hey, do you mind if I buy a house today?" And she goes, "No." And 2 hours
Right.
later, I owned a house, right?
Right.
So I owned the house and made a pile of money on it. It was up to my waist in trash, but we cleaned it out, remodeled the place and sold it and made a pile of money on it. And I said, "Man, I did it once. I'll just keep doing this." And so that's
Right.
what we did all the way until 2018. I flipped about 60 houses, built a nice
Oh,
rental
good. Wow.
portfolio, and then got into commercial real estate. And so via the iterations, the real estate's fun in that
Mhm.
there's just so many asset classes and so many ways you can, I mean, so many ways you can get into real estate.
Mhm.
But the long story is that there's a lot of really overheated, in my opinion, asset classes right now where people are paying just stupid amounts of money for very diminished returns. We're not
Yeah.
seeing that in the RV resort space. So I don't want to get too granular here. But last year we built a boat and RV storage facility. In doing my research, I found the RV resort industry, and I go, wait, nobody's playing in the sandbox. The returns are exceptional. The demand is through the roof. Well, we should be buying RV resorts. Like it's
Yeah, that's smart.
yeah,
Yeah.
it just made sense for us. And then the laundry facility is a business that we are growing very intentionally, and that is a business where we do it's just a regular old coin-op laundry. Well, it's not even
Mhm.
that much coin-op anymore, but it is a self-serve laundromat. But then we also do a large amount of drop-off business, and we also do what we call the Uber of laundry here in Memphis, which is, you get on an app on your phone, you can order laundry, we'll come pick it up like you do in the big cities, like, New York City
Smart.
and Los Angeles.
Smart.
That was pretty common, or it's a, pretty common thing for a long time. You don't find that in a lot of your middle American cities. So yeah, that's where we're going along in those two businesses.
Yeah, you know what? And those are really smart, right? They're not sexy, but they're smart, right? Because thinking about the RVs right now, because even me and my husband are like, we should just get a damn RV, just live in that shit because I'm tired of paying all this stuff. But
Right.
I tell you, everybody's thinking that, right, Sam? So like having these resorts is so smart. You're like right in the middle of this boom happening, right? Like RV sales are going through the roof. People are really tired of paying the landlords, jacked up prices, things like that. So that's super, super smart. On top of that, because our economy and people are being born all over the place all the time, we have a bunch of buildings coming up everywhere. Come on now, laundry? Smart, Sam. You're a smart
Thank
man.
you. Thank you. Well, the laundry business is one that the RV resorts are not as recession resistant, maybe, as what a laundry facility is.
Mhm,
Like,
mhm.
what we call the inelastic demand of a product, right? Like, I think they say cigarettes and alcohol are the most, I think I'm saying it right, inelastic, in that the demand never changes, right?
Right,
It's like,
right.
actually, when times get bad, cigarette and alcohol use goes up.
Up,
It
yeah.
Right. So it's like, okay, not as inelastic, but it's pretty close to it. So that said, clean clothes are right there behind it, where it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, if we have a recession, then people, they can't afford to, or don't want to invest in new washers and dryers. The budget's tighter. It's easier to spend, $8 a week doing your laundry at the laundromat than it is to go out and spend $1,000 on a washer and dryer.
Right, right.
Well, okay, and not that I want to take advantage of people, but I certainly want to provide, which we do. We have the highest and most reviewed laundromat in all of Memphis. We want to provide this like
That's
amazing
cool.
laundromat experience for a group of people maybe that aren't used to having an amazing laundromat experience. Usually go to a laundromat and like, oh my gosh, am I gonna get stabbed? Like, no,
Right,
you,
right.
you're
I remember those days, Sam.
yeah,
I remember those
for
days.
sure. So it's like,
So tell
no, we
me
have a
about
clean.
that. Let me stop you for a second. What the heck does that mean? A laundromat experience. You got to tell me what that means because I
Well, I
remember
mean,
I remember walking in going, I hope they have cameras here. I'm not alone.
for sure, and that's
Yeah.
one of the things we do is, there's cameras on everything.
Mhm,
So the one, there's that. We're also staffed from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m., and we're open there's only 3 hours of that day from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. where there's not staff there,
mhm,
which usually is
mhm.
pretty quiet in the mornings anyway, and we have a nice regular flow of customers that come in right at 5 a.m. and do their laundry because it's peaceful. But we want to provide not just we want to provide a safe environment. We want to provide a
Mhm,
staffed environment. So most of the time you
mhm.
go to a laundromat, you're not sitting there going, "Oh, hey, welcome to whatever laundromat." It's like you just walk in, and again, there's not that friendly greetings. There's always somebody greeting you to come in the door. The place
That's
is
cool.
always clean. The lights are on 24/7. I never shut the lights off. I mean, the place is lit up like a Christmas tree. So you want to
Right.
walk in, it's like, oh, hey, cool. I mean, people tell us that all the time. They're like, wow, like I went here and it was like an amazing experience. Thank you. This is
Right.
fun. Versus your chip. So I just, providing that to a demographic that's probably not used to that
Right.
is really powerful. So yeah, that's one of the small things. We put in a reading room. There's a kids library in there, so there's bookshelves
Oh,
all
wow.
throughout the laundromat. There's it's
Smart.
just community events. We bring in the Easter Bunny. We have Santa come for Christmas pictures. We bring in photographers. We do a lot of fun. We do like free laundry for the schools because there's a truancy. There's a dirty clothes, and the kids who have that don't get their clothes regularly washed have a much
Wow.
higher rate of truancy. So we go and work with the counselors at the schools and give them free laundry vouchers because then they can
Wow.
discreetly pass out laundry vouchers to families that can't really afford to do their laundry or maybe aren't doing their laundry for who knows what reason. So there's a lot of fun things that you think we do inside of that business that just make it a little bit different experience.
Yeah, I love that. That's really thinking out of the box. That's really thinking out of the box because, most people just would think, okay, I'll buy a laundry place and just it doesn't have to be manned and people could just struggle with it themselves. That's a whole different ballgame though, because you're also pouring into others, right? Like really helping families that can't have like that's a whole different thing now, right?
Right.
It's not just laundry,
Right.
right? That's really, really cool, Sam. Do you think that it's because of, where you grew up and all that that gives you like that insight of seeing, there's families that are struggling, so let me help in this area?
I mean, I think there's always that being raised with that the giver's gain. I think that was a good example. My parents always
Mm,
that was always being generous. Gosh, I mean, I just remember on Sundays when mom, after church, the number of people that would come over and eat lunch at our house, like guys that were my sibling range is 20 years. My oldest brother is 52. My youngest brother's 32. So
mm,
we're all same mom and dad. Just so it's a
right,
big spread. So my oldest brother's sibling or buddies would all come over, and then their buddies would come over, and it was always just this inclusive. We didn't have much, man, but what we had, we gave, and I think
right,
there's
that's
part of
cool.
that. So I think that's that's just part of being decent, and then the other half of
Yeah,
it is that that's the giver's gain. Like for us, yes, this is not a not for profit business. Like I do this to make money, and it is very profitable. And so
mhm, mhm,
I don't shy behind either one of those. Where it's like, hey, yeah, we're going to go out in the community, we're going to do really cool stuff, and also I intend on getting paid.
right.
So it's like it cuts both ways. But again, I think it's the
Yeah,
giver's gain. I don't do one to get the other necessarily, but certainly I do reap the benefits of it, and
well, yeah,
I, I
yeah,
don't I don't shy behind that. It's like, I mean, I'm in business to
yeah,
make
but
money, but by providing an absolutely amazing experience for our customers, I get paid. And if I provide an absolutely terrible and crappy experience, I don't get paid. So
right, right. What cracks me up is that, that people think that, or at least there's a lot of opinions out in the ethos out here, right? But the truth is, yeah, you're supposed to get paid. You're providing a service, like it's
yeah,
called business, right?
right,
Like,
right,
it's called
right,
business. I'm just saying, right? Like, I think that people are always like, "Oh, yeah, you do it for money." No, but the money is here and I do need it. Like you
right.
need it, right? So, yeah, there's nothing to be sad about there. Listen, if you're
No,
providing a service and you're helping people, you should get paid. That's how I see it. You
right,
know, I
right.
mean that's
And we
yeah,
don't have to do the other things that we do, but it's also it is just part of yeah, like I think maybe you're right to an extent, like coming from that environment of never having clothes that fit. I always thought that when you went to school, because we grew up in Indiana, and so like when you go out for recess in the winter, I thought that everybody didn't have gloves that fit. So I mean, I remember standing in the
right,
front of the room and the teachers like trying to mash your fingers in the hand-me-down gloves that were your
right,
12-year ago brothers, that when he was in first grade and you're in fourth grade, you can't go to recess without gloves on your hand.
right.
Oh my gosh, like, no, no, I don't do that. So, yeah, there's probably part of that as well that's
Yeah,
just like that, you don't need to be a dirty, stinky kid in first grade that smells like hot garbage. Like, let's please give you some
yeah,
"Go,
yeah.
wash your clothes."
And
Oh
this
god.
and it's like the least we can do for humanity, right? I mean,
Right.
let me ask you a more personal question. Did your parents get to see you become successful or, on that road to success? Are they alive or
They are,
okay,
and they've been a big part of that. I would say,
awesome.
despite growing up, poor, dad dad and mom finally hit a stride probably in their early 50s, where they finally got
Awesome.
into a business that, paid them well. So the last 10 to 12 years of their, maybe even 15 years of their working lives, they did really well for themselves. So that
Good.
was really fun to watch as well. Like, oh, okay, so we're not the poor broke family that we were at one point. So that was fun to finally see them hit that stride. Yeah, they're here. They're doing well. And it's
Good.
funny, my mom is probably one of my bigger investors in a lot of these investments, because we raise capital from investors
Right.
to
Right.
invest in RV resorts. I don't have enough money. I'm not a deca millionaire that can go out and just buy RV resorts all on my own. I need tons of investors to come in and
Right.
help us take down these deals. So yeah, mom gets to participate in a lot of these deals, and it's funny that that break between what do they call it, the investor versus the saver. My mom was a prodigious saver, never an
Mm,
investor. And so even last year, she called me. She's like, "Hey, so is this check I'm getting, which is an ACH, but whatever, is this check I'm getting, is that a return of my money, or is that just a distribution payment on my investment?" Mom, that's just a distribution. Like,
right.
you'll see that every quarter. He's like, "Oh, this is so much fun." I'm like,
Right.
yeah, it is fun. Good for you. You're finally
That's
holding up.
awesome.
You're in your mid 70s and you're finally figuring out what it means to have your money work for you. This is amazing.
Right.
So,
Yeah. So tell me, like, for the people who are listening that not are, like kind of wavering about investing or, getting into kind of real estate or anything like that, like, give us like a tip or two. Like, what do you recommend for somebody who's like, maybe they don't have a lot of money, but they do want to start doing something where they want to get out of where they are. What would you say?
I guess it depends on, one, figure out your why. That would be the first thing.
Yeah.
Why do I want to do what I want to do? And that will help guide your what you're going to do. That would be the first thing I'd
Yeah.
say. And I spent a lot of time nailing down, like, why am I doing this? My goals, and I'll tell you mine is Nina, I got a lot of friends in this business that, have way more money than they know what to do with. And they have huge companies, hundreds of employees and this and that and the other. I don't want that. Like, my why is to get my time back and to
Right.
provide enough for my family where we can go out, take a vacation, and enjoy each other. And I don't want to piss away my years of my kids growing up and then be like, "Oh, sorry, I worked too hard and I didn't get
Yeah.
spending time with." I want
I
my
get
time
that.
back and a little bit of money, and that's it. Like, beyond that, I don't really care after my basic needs are met. So I got to figure out what my why is in that. So I don't intend on
Mhm.
building this, monster RV resort business and, blowing the doors off. So figure out your why. I would say the first
Yeah.
thing.
That's good.
Once you know your why, that'll determine your what. If you want to start investing as an active investor, go join a mentorship group. It'd be the first thing I'd do. It's going to cost you some money probably, or, you can get on LinkedIn, and this is something easy and free to do. There's enough real estate meetup groups on LinkedIn. You can go just sit back and participate, watch, learn, listen, and you can gather
Good.
more information than you ever could possibly act on for absolutely free and make a million amazing contacts. That's something else you could do. I mean, there's no lack of information on
Mhm.
how to
Mhm.
invest or where to begin. It's but only you can determine your why. So that's probably where I'd start.
That's really, really good. Really good advice. Now, do you at all, Sam, I know that you do the RV and the investing and all that. Do you do like mentoring and coaching as well, or do you kind of just stay kind of away from that?
I kind of stay away from it. Maybe it's something at some point I would get into, but I'm pulled pretty. I'm stretched in too many
Yeah.
directions already.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
you
no,
have good videos. You have good videos on your social media. So, I mean, I
thanks.
think that's a way of coaching on this, like
Right,
without getting completely hands in and, and spending your whole life doing it.
right.
But you have really good videos. They're really clear and direct. So, I'm super excited about all you're doing, Sam. Seriously. And I love that. I love the way you think. I love the way you thought out the box, especially for the laundry. That's really cool. I never heard that angle. So, I'm really happy that you're doing all of that and helping people. That's awesome. So
Thank
before I let you go, because I'm enjoying your videos, other people need to be enjoying them too. So let us know your social media handles, like how people can see what you're doing. Maybe if they even want to invest or something. So go ahead and drop it for us.
Everything is at how to scale CRE. So you can find us on Instagram, how to scale CRE. CRE is short for commercial real estate. So you can find us on
Okay.
Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can find me, Sam Wilson. Look up Brick and Investment Group. Even that I think is at how to scale CRE on LinkedIn. So yeah, this should be all the even on TikTok. Apparently, I have TikTok videos out there.
Apparently, I have TikTok. Okay, good.
I do have a marketing manager that works for
Yeah.
me, and so she's recently been putting me on TikTok, I'm told.
That
So
is so funny. Great. I mean, TikTok, it makes you like pick up real quick. So you'll be getting more on there. That is so
you
funny.
won't find me
Apparently, I'm on
dancing though,
TikTok.
that's for sure.
Where's that?
I said you won't find me dancing, that's for sure.
Right. Oh, I know. Yeah, yeah. We have to all have our limits, Sam.
There are limits. Yes, ma'am. You got it.
Thank you so much for coming on here. I really enjoyed our conversation. I truly appreciate like what you've dropped on my audience. And I love, tantalizing their brain and having them think about things because a lot of them are really just really great entrepreneurs, really great hardworking people, a lot of coaches and investors and stuff. So thank you for doing this. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, Neena, for having me. Certainly appreciate it.
Thank you. And guys, thank you so much for listening and watching. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe, all that great stuff. You know what to do. I'm going to make sure to link all of Sam's information below so that you can follow his stuff as well. I have been watching his videos, especially on Instagram, which I think he knows he's on. And those are actually really good videos and really smart way of thinking. So I want you guys to go on there and check that out. Thank you guys for everything that you do. You know, I love you guys. Until next time.